It is my absolute joy and pleasure to sit down and have a conversation with my friend, my sister friend, and author, Dr. Shelly Cameron. Dr. Shelly is the author of books on success, leadership, and inspiration. Her passion for organizational change and people development led her to invest years of research into leadership and success, published in the JAABC Journal with its ensuing award. Her graduate degrees in organizational leadership, health administration, and human resource management cements her coaching love. Shelley was born in the Caribbean and has lived in Canada, Washington, D.C., and the Sunshine State. When not writing, she can be found on the beach, staring at the waves, or in a nook sipping tea, book in hand, movie in the background. You can find her online at her website, www.shellycameron.com. So, Dr. Shelley, it is really a joy for us to sit and have this conversation. You know, over the years I've known you, I have seen that you have worn various hats. You've been manager, leader, consultant, uh, event coordinator in some sense, some things that we've done for the Caribbean American Heritage Awards, we're part of that committee. But you've been a coach, but you've also been an author. Perhaps you can just share with us that journey from human resource management to coach to consultant that brought you to being that transition into being an author.
Okay, thank you, Maxine, for really spending the time to share with me on this occasion as I participate in the Miami Book Fair's book event. This is an annual event that happens November of each year. This year it is virtual, so it allows myself and you to chat because right now you are actually in Trinidad. And for those of you who don't know, Maxine is an executive coach and a Diaspora Liaison. So it's really a pleasure for you to take the time, Maxine, to chat with me. And my writing journey began actually when I had my dissertation to do. Now, this was a 2-year plus research that I had to do. And I wanted to do something that would make a difference to people's lives, not just to do write for the sake of writing. I love and my passion is writing. So I decided to research on the topics of leadership and success. Leadership because I was looking and I was involved in the pharmaceutical industry that had a lot of professionals included in it. And when I looked around, when I went to places like the hairdresser and the common places, grocery stores and so on, I was looking in to see how can I make an impact? Is there some difference between the people who are there and others? And I said, okay, let me try and research it and find the distinction between leadership and success. And of course, the rest is history. I did find it. I was recognized. I published an article in the Journal of American Academy of Business, Cambridge. That was really outstanding for me. And then it was recognized by Nova Southeastern University, who I suddenly found out that I was right front and center on their page one day. And really for any student who left school and accomplished that, it really blew my mind. I can hardly speak, as you can realize. So I shared my dissertation, and from there I said, okay, how can I help? So I went ahead further and I published a book on called Success Strategies of Caribbean American Leaders Living in the United States. I wanted to share with those who are out there, what are the things that are happening in their lives and how can they too become successful. So I interviewed leaders in the large organization, healthcare, one of the biggest healthcare institutions in South Florida, and media, and you name it. I interviewed those big leaders, and then I got what the common themes were for them. Published it in the dissertation, published it in the Success Strategies book. That was my first stance at writing. And then from there, I recognized I started getting questions from other persons who asked me how to. So I went to the university and I shared with them how I did it to the alumni. As an alumni, I went to Nova and I shared with the doctoral students at their invitation how to do it. And then other persons now started asking me, how do you become successful? So I decided to write what I call is a how-to guide. And that was an initial one. I recently now decided to update the how-to guide to this book, which is called Ditch It or Switch It, one of my favorites. Ditch It or
Excellent.
Switch It.
And we're going to
So
talk a
that's
little
it.
later about that book. That book, because that's
Exactly.
the current book. But what I heard as you started your journey, what I heard is that there began your career as an author, but I heard also as a speaker.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
yes. So it's as if they happen
It
simultaneously.
follows with my career as in
Yes,
human resource management.
sure.
We're always speaking,
Absolutely, absolutely. And as
whether
a,
it's in the industry or with employees or wherever in the organization. And I was international company, so I went past that fear of public speaking. I didn't have a choice. I had to jump out
absolutely.
from early days.
Absolutely. And I can relate as a former HR executive also. I can relate. Our job entails talking.
Yes.
So as you began writing, as you began answering these questions and writing and sharing with people about leadership, a few books evolved.
Yes.
Even before we get to the current book, a few books. Tell us a little bit about those books.
Okay, so the journey began. So I wrote the one that I was sharing with you before. So the one I have now is the second edition. Then I wanted to do some, connect with my audience. And I started putting out posts on social media, which is the Instagram. I'm very active on Instagram. And after a while, I hear people meeting me in person and saying, oh, I love your quotes. So, oh my God, this took over. So now I feel led that I have to be posting
yes,
every
yes.
single day.
Yes.
And then one day I decided to capture all of those posts and others, and I put together a little booklet called the 101 Empowering Quotes for New Entrepreneurs. So that was one of the books that I did. And all of this came out of people asking me questions. I really don't sit down and try to do it. It's when people ask, I feel a need. Then the next book was, which I actually was writing before I started any books at all, was Green Light. This one. This is Green Light.
Green Light, yes.
Right. And Green Light is the one that I was writing for a while because it really was from my diary. And the funny thing is that Matthew McConaughey, his book is also called Green Light.
Ah.
Right. So now I have a a celebrity wherever I go. I see the book there.
A colleague author.
Yes. So it is there. When you search Google, anywhere you search now, his book, but his book is called Green Lights. But the concept is the same because his book was written from his journal. So he took time out and he went away to pull his journal writings together. And guess what? I had done the same thing. I went away to Washington, D.C. to finish my dissertation. And in between that, I was journaling a lot. And that's where all of these stuff came from, writings that I've put together over time. And it took me years to do it. I didn't realize that it was a book until later on. I decided to pull it all together.
Excellent, excellent. So can I say great minds
think alike.
Full stop.
Right.
Great minds think alike. So I'm hearing inside of there that yes, you didn't set out to be an author of those books, but because you journaled, because you kept notes, because you kept observation, the books evolved. So I'm hearing a bit of advice there for future authors, perhaps.
Right. I think the advice for future authors is what I always tell them is to write. And what has arisen as a result of my writings is pretty present because now I'm stepping into closer water, deeper waters, because now authors are now coming to me, or what I call aspiring authors are coming to me asking, how can I do this thing? And I have under my belt several authors who have, since the last 3-4 years, have actually published books with me, helping them and encouraging them along the path. They have published their books. I have one that that stands out is Dr. I keep calling her Doctor. It is Patricia Chin, Miss Pat, and I'll be chatting with her in a conversation, herself and David Mullings. I'll be chatting with them throughout this period of the Miami Book Fair, a conversation series. So that stay tuned for that for the listeners. So that has really been something for me there as I hope I've answered your question.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Okay.
I am hearing that the natural coach in you, the natural coach that you are, people are gravitating to you for advice and coaching how to become an author. So that's exciting in itself. So you are, as we say, we reproduce ourselves. So you are reproducing authors. In that sense.
So what really happens to me is that I respond to a need.
Absolutely.
I think I have a God-given ability to encourage others, and people feel at home, people feel free to speak with me.
Absolutely.
And that's the only way I can help others, whether it is a career change or whatever it is. I'm there and they can reach out to me, and I'm very confidential too. So that's why people gravitate towards me, and we talk, and then I don't rush.
Absolutely.
I take my time with them, and then over a year or over a period of time, whenever they're finished, they can show me, and I'm so proud to see their books that have been published.
Excellent, excellent. So that you have coached and you have helped, because as you said, you think it's a gift, and we know our gifts always make room for us. So you've coached and you've helped persons, perhaps professionals looking to change careers. You've helped persons looking to move from professionals into entrepreneurs and so on. And that takes us into the current book. The current book is called Ditch It or Switch It. Tell us about that book.
So this book is, as I said, I had researched the topic of leadership and success. So if you look into it, you will find that it has several things in it. It speaks to leadership. What are the qualities? It speaks to success. How do you define success? This speaks to a roadmap, because what I think is in most cases, you need a mission. A mission. What is my mission? What is my purpose? A lot of people don't know that. So that really, I give them ideas as to other missions of other persons who are more famous and so on. And then I get into it. How do you do it? How do you start crafting your own mission statement? Because when we don't know where we're going, any road is going to take us there. And trust me, you don't want to go down that road. So you need to be guided along. So that's what this book is all about. It has examples of interviews. It has ways and means of how they can ditch it. It has examples of people who have left their jobs and who left it in a wrong way, and then you have to do some cleaning up.
So
when I say wrong way, you're angry, and then you decide that I can't take this job anymore, and you send in your resignation, and then you go home and you're looking at the four walls and you're wondering, oh my God, what did I do? So as my role, I've had to work through with people. So this book is really about my experiences as HR and how I can guide people. It's about my experience as a coach. It's about my experience as in the research. So it's based on the research that I did and came up with the ideas. Of course, I have other persons' information included in it. And that also, if I can share with you, one of the things that I think people may get from it is to recognize what the signs are of when they should ditch their jobs.
When it's time to make the transition, yes.
Right. Do you want me to go into?
When it's time to switch. So what I'm hearing as you walk through it a bit, I heard that from that book, we can learn how to do it, but also learn how not to do it.
Exactly.
That's what I heard.
Exactly. And things like dealing with difficult people, because sometimes you have to stay sick. So you're angry at work, you're unhappy at work, but you still have to stay. You have to stay put. Absolutely. You can't jump up and do it, because when you do it, jump up and leave, it's going to be the wrong decision.
Timing is everything.
Exactly. You could never have said it any better. Timing is everything. So sometimes you just got to find that motivation, and that's where my motivational quotes books come into play. How can I keep myself motivated to go into an organization that I'm unhappy with? Now we're having the pandemic. The online thing, virtual space doesn't stop. Those what they call the horrible people from working, it is still there, it's still evident. And that's what this book has. It tells you how to identify the different signs of working with difficult people.
Excellent. So you've just touched something that we're about. That is an excellent segue into the pandemic and
Right.
how COVID has changed how we now work and how we now interact. Talk a little bit about that.
So the pandemic for me, and I will answer it from this perspective. The
Mhm.
pandemic had people at home in the main, and what I found was that a lot more authors were asking questions, a lot more career changers were asking questions. How do you interview virtually? Things like that.
Yes.
Authors were asking, okay, I have the time. I want to do this book. And that's what arose for me during this pandemic. So
Yeah.
I've been very busy. And it is in this virtual space,
Sure.
this, virtual space that it tells you what happened during the pandemic. During interviews, how do you relocate? Things like that happen,
Mhm.
because relocation still happen. But
Sure.
how do you travel safely? How do you relocate safely? What are the things that you need to take into account? Those are all included in this book too.
Excellent.
Yes, and this
Excellent.
book incidentally was supposed to have come out January of 2020. But then when I looked on and I saw what was happening, I said, no, I had to wait. And I waited the full year. Looked on. This is one thing I'm good at, looking into the future, trying to understand the present and projecting into the future. What is it going to
Discernment.
be like?
Discernment. Discernment.
how
Yes.
how can you how can individuals be ready for the future, whether
Sure.
it is that you want to be an author, whether it is that you want to change your jobs. Sometimes you don't need to change your job, sometimes you just need to switch the company. So
Mhm.
things like that. So that's why the title came up, your career, ditch it or switch
This
it.
is it.
Or it might mean that you want to switch to become an entrepreneur. Many people want to do that. And
Yes.
how do you do it? What are the ways that you need to do it? Right. So it's not a very thick book or big book that goes into much details in each area, but at least they have the starting board as to how to get along with this. And then I offer coaching services that can work with them little by little in order to get to where they want to go. And many have done it. So I'm proud to say it has actually worked.
I am proud of you, Dr. Shelly
Thank you.
Cameron. It sounds like the book is timely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like the book is timely
Yeah.
because at the time that you wrote the book, no one knew of the pandemic.
Right.
No
Exactly.
one knew of the pandemic, and it is even timely for that.
Right.
You
So what
know?
I've done since then,
Mhm.
just to let you know, is to update it based
Okay.
on what I've seen over this year
Last few months, yes.
with the virtual interviews and
Mhm.
dressing professionally even though you're at home and stuff. And
Absolutely.
being human, because the most thing is that you
Absolutely.
have to be human. Let people see who
Absolutely.
you are. It's not like you're pretending.
Sure, 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 sure. Wonderful. So this is exciting. And when I looked at the book, the book looks like it's manageable. It's not a book that people will not want to go through. It looks manageable.
Right. Right.
It
It
looks
is.
user friendly because I've had a
Right.
chance to take a quick switch through it and read a bit about
Okay.
it. Yes.
Okay.
So it looks
Okay.
manageable. So I can see many persons, professionals, entrepreneurs, people who want to make a shift, people who want
Right.
to
Right.
switch or ditch, or ditch or switch. I can
Whichever
see
way.
it either way. I can see it very, very, very helpful. So as we come in for a landing with this very interesting conversation, any parting words, any last words of advice, words of wisdom you'd like to leave with those who will be looking at this interview?
Sure. So the books are actually available on Amazon. It's available on many other platforms. The the Greenlight is another one that was just published last month, and Greenlight was published in 2018. But I tend to write and not market. So I decided this year, I made a commitment to myself at the end of last year, to publish Greenlight as an audiobook, because again, it's in response to readers asking me questions. Some people don't read, some people prefer to listen.
Oh,
So I
practical. Yes.
delved into it and I published the audiobook. I'm so happy about that one. It took me several months to work with the parties who did it, and now it is available on, if you ask me, every single medium that is out there, any platform that you ask for,
Absolutely.
audiobooks.com, Audible, it is
Sure.
out there. Just put,
Sure.
if you just put Greenlight into the Google and it comes up. I actually did that, searching for it, and it came up. I was blown. And that's when Matthew McConaughey's book also came up with
Right,
mine. I
right,
was like,
right.
oh my God.
Side by side.
Next side by side. But so
Fantastic.
I want to give a parting word as you
Yes,
ask, and
with
I
the
will part
wisdom.
with
With the
the what this is a quote from Mark Twain, and it reads, "To live a fulfilled life, we need to keep creating the what is next of our lives. Without dreams and goals, there is no living, only merely existing." And you don't want that. We're all here for a purpose, so let's achieve our purpose. Again, the books are available on Amazon or on my website at shellycameron.com. Anybody can go there. They can find out more information in every single category that they want to. It's available there. Thank you.
All heard it. So get out there, get your fingers excited, and get out there and order the books, because we can all benefit no matter what stage of our career or stage of our life. We can all benefit from the words of wisdom that Dr. Shelly Cameron offers us in the various books that are available. I would like to end as I began. It has been a joy and a pleasure just having this conversation with you, Dr. Shelly. And I look forward to future conversations and activities that we may do together.
Right, and I would say thank you very much, Maxine Barnett, executive coach, who is now in Trinidad, and it was really a pleasure trying to coordinate the timing and all. Now that we've just changed the time and all, and books will stay tuned. Books will be giveaways will be coming out soon, so stay tuned, my listeners. Again, this is me participating in the Miami Book Fair that is running between November 15th to November 22nd.
Excellent.
Okay, so
excellent. See you there.
Okay, thank you, Maxine. I really appreciate it. Blessings.
Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.
Bye.